Now this video is going to be about some old tuners that I've taken off of guitars through the years. I've remodeled quite a few Kay and Harmony guitars and rebraced them and so forth through the years, and I wound up with a pretty big collection of these old tuners laying around, these 3 on a plate deals. And they were always hard to turn. It seemed like you needed a pair of vice grips to turn them. So I usually replaced them with some sealed Asian-made tuners that I used to buy used to get them for about $15 a set, $15–20 a set. Now they're a lot higher in the quality of you can find some for $15 a set, but the quality's not up to what it used to be. So I've recently repaired a guitar that had some of these old tuners on it, but they had larger buttons on them, and so I left those, greased them up and lubricated them and left them on this guitar, and they seem to work pretty good. So I decided that I'd try to make some bigger buttons and put on there to give you more leverage to turn them. And so I made a set the other day of wooden tuners and bigger size, and they seem to work pretty good. So that's what this video is going to be about. Here we are ripping some curly maple. It's about 3/4 inch wide, and we're ripping it down to about 1/4 inch or so. In this next clip, we're at the bandsaw, and we're sawing these into little blocks, a little bit longer than the finished buttons will be. Now we're at the drill press, and we're going to drill a hole for the shaft to go into on this tuner button that we're making. Now we made us a little pattern to go by to shape these buttons with rounded ends on it. And, we're going to try to make them pretty comfortable to turn. Now we're back at the bandsaw, and we're going to roughly round the corners off on these little blocks. Next we went to the disc sander with some 180 grit paper on it, and we tried to follow the line and sand down to the line and round the corners over on these blocks. Next we chucked these blanks up in the little vise and started rounding the edges over on these blocks, and we spent a lot of time working on this. Here's a shot of the finished product, and another little clip of us sanding the edges down a little bit smoother on this little green polishing thing. Now we began the process of applying some stain to this curly maple, and we went through a couple of different times of applying this stain to get it as dark as we wanted it. This next clip shows us applying some finish to these buttons. We use this water-based polyurethane. It's quick drying, it's got a good gloss to it, and we can apply it with a brush. We could have sprayed it, but we felt like this brushing would be adequate for this application. So while the finish was drying, we got a set of these old tuners out and started the process of removing the old buttons. And there are several ways to get them off, but we just took a set of end nippers and cut up close to the shaft and got the old buttons off. This particular set of tuners had a couple of shafts that were bent, and we just took some vice grips and worked with them. Had to straighten them 2 or 3 times to get them where they were tolerable to our taste. And I won't say they came out perfect, but they were within normal specs, I believe. We felt like this would be a good time for us to do a little lubricating on these things. We had a little small pipette that we had some marble mystery oil in, and it's a lightweight oil, and so we applied some of that to the points that we felt like would be moving together, and it seemed to help them to turn easier. Here's a shot of us applying the tuner buttons back to the shaft. We took some 5-minute epoxy and put down in the hole and on the shaft, and we almost forgot to turn the camera on. This was the last one we put back on there, but this will show you the process we went through. Here's the finished product. Don't really have a guitar to try them on right now, but there they are.